Hello and welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we bring to you the major and top highlights. Ordinary Congress at the People's Palace. Union for Democracy and Justice, UDJ. Djibouti signs the United Nations Convention on Cybercrime. And on the international scene, Antonio Guterres calls for urgent reform of the UN Security Council. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The Union for Democracy and Justice held its ordinary Congress on Saturday, October 25th, 2025 at the People's Palace in an atmosphere of fervor, cohesion and hope. The event coincided with the party's founding anniversary, giving it particular symbolic and historic renaissance under the theme Unity, Commitment and Vision for the Future. The Congress gathered hundreds of activists from across the country, together with political guests, diplomats and civil society representatives. Participants reaffirmed their commitment to UDG's core values: democracy, social justice and national solidarity. Senior figures including Ali Abdi Farah and Abdurrahman Mohammed Awale from the PND-UMP coalition attended, signaling openness and mutual respect among Djiboutian political formation. In her opening remarks, the UDJ president praised the exceptional mobilization of party members and stressed that urged the Congress's significance aimed the public's renewed calls for transparency, participation and fairness. She urged stronger internal unity, continued democratic dialogue and the construction of a credible alternative that serves the national interests. The day concluded with a frontal exchange, veterans' testimonies and a unifying message to the nation. The future of our country will be built through constitution, justice and respect for every person's dignity. With 7 seats in the National Assembly, the UDG reaffirmed its determination to work relentlessly for a democratic, fair and prosperous Djibouti.
hadiyo jeer wuxuu halgan ugu jira danta guud ee la hurin inuu heli toosan mariyo siyaasad hufan weyn
dangani laga helo lagu howlgalo ideeji hormudu yahayo hadal yatimamu yahay ideeji hormudu yahayo hadal yatimamu yahay
wixii la qabtay hirgalay uban soo hooya gulo
isbigu ma hareer mare habsami waa mid u cadeeya
halka ka wadu yidhaahdaa
halka ka wadu yidhaahdaa
halka ka wadu yidhaahdaa
halka ka wadu yidhaahdaa
Following this, Abdul Issa addressed the Congress, urging national unity and inclusive participation. He called for strengthening local representation and for political leaders to listen to citizens' daily concern. He praised the UDG's mobilization efforts, urged constructive inter-party dialogue, and emphasized the need to protect social rights and civic freedoms while preserving national stability. PND President Abdurrahman congratulated the UDJ on its anniversary and praised the party's organizational vitality. He reiterated the importance of inter-party cooperation to address pressing national priorities such as job creation, transparent governance, and social cohesion. Ali Abdi Farah saluted the spirit of democratic engagement displayed at the Congress and stressed the value of respectful political competition. He highlighted the need to reinforce institutions, strengthen the rule of law, and expand civic participation at local and national levels. And in her speech, the president of the party, Madam Elia Ismail Gedi, stated that this Congress is not an ordinary day. It marks not only a decisive moment in the political life, but a historic milestone for the political family. Let's listen to her.
Mesdames et messieurs, avant d'ouvrir officiellement ce congrès, je vous demande d'observer une minute de silence en hommage à notre collègue, l'honorable Hassan Robleh, qui nous a quittés hier. Je me souviens de ce jour.
Ladies and gentlemen, before officially opening this Congress, I ask you to observe a minute of silence in tribute of our colleague, the Honorable Hassan Robleh, who passed away yesterday. I remember that day in committee as we discussed the regulation of informal workers, and he said to me, Adero, the solution is simple. Yes, a man capable of simply explaining the complex has passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I invite you to read the Fatiha in his memory. Dear comrade, dear friends, distinguished guests, it is with particular emotion that I address you today, for this Congress is not a day like any other. It marks not only a high point in our political life, but also a historic moment for our political family. Today, we celebrate the anniversary of our party, this great political family born of courage, conviction, and the dream of fairer, more united, more human Djibouti. And for me, it is also a deeply personal moment because for 10 years I have had the honor and the responsibility of leading our party. 10 years of struggle, of faith, of doubt at times, but also faithful to our primary commitment to serve the people. Our party heritage and commitment since its creation, our party has been a place of courage and conviction, a refuge for free voices, about work for awakening the consciences. I would like to salute the founders, activists, volunteers, and ordinary people who, throughout their commitment, have shaped our party. Some are no longer with us, but their spirit accompanies us every step of the way. We are the heir of a noble struggle, that of dignity and justice. At this solemn moment, let us pay sincere and profound tribute to our founding father, my father. His foresight, his integrity, his tireless determination, and his unwavering love for our country paved the way for an ideal that has become a living legacy. He still guides us today, enlightening our commitment and inspires our loyalty. For he not only built a party, he built a school of courage. 10 years later, I appreciate how far we have come. It has not always been easy. The pace of courage never are, but we have persevered because we know why we choose this pace, out of love for our country and loyalty to our values.
She continued by saying, and I quote, "Our country faces immense challenges in the face of these realities. We must be the voice of those who are no longer heard. We must carry high the torch of social justice." Let's listen to her.
Mes chers camarades, aucune idée, si belle soit-elle, ne peut s'incarner sans unité.
Unity, the force that unites us, my dear comrade. No idea, however beautiful, can be embodied without unity. Unity is our strength, our anchor, and our future. Unity does not mean uniformity. It means that despite our differences, we are all looking in the same direction. We come from diverse backgrounds, but we share the same hope. Our differences are no flaws, they are our wealth. I say this with gravity, no personal ambition, no misunderstanding. No wounds of the past must take precedence over the collective interest. Our party is not the property of an individual, but the home of people. It is together, and only together, that we can continue the work began so many years ago. The nation, social justice, and a shared future. Our commitment is not limited to our work. It embraces the entire nation because we are defending here the dream of a more just, more equitable, and more fraternal Djibouti. Our country faces immense challenges, and in the face of these realities, we must be the voice of those who are no longer listening to. We must hold high the torch of social justice. Social justice means guaranteeing every citizen dignity, security, access to education, access to healthcare, and access to employment. It means combating inequality, rejecting privilege, and placing people back at the center of public policy. It means defending fair, ethical, and transparent governance, where serving the people once again becomes an honor, not a privilege. We carry the visions of a united, equitable, and proud Djibouti, a country where every child, every woman, and every man can dream and succeed. Social justice is not a slogan for us, it is a moral imperative.
She also said, and I quote, "The time for gathering is not the time for division. It is a time for responsibility, discernment, and loyalty to the nation."
Chers amis, 23 ans après sa création, notre parti a atteint l'âge de la maturité politique.
10 years of commitment, a future of hope. Dear friend, 23 years after its creation, our party has reached the age of political maturity, and we look back. It is not to wallow in nostalgia, but to draw the strength to continue on the pace. Today, I want to say to all our activists, to our young people, to our women, to our elders, the best is yet to come. This party is alive, standing, and ready to write a new chapter in its history, in a world that is constantly changing, where each minute overturns the previous one in the torrent of invention, mutations, and deregulation. The role of politicians is not only to observe and comment, but to invent new regulations and to act by seeking answers in the only questions that matters. Is this good for Djibouti? Is this good for the Djiboutian? Understanding, proposing, and acting. This will be our roadmap. To understand is to realize that today in Djibouti, as elsewhere, two worldviews confront each other. Two conceptions of man and society diametrically opposite, irreducible, mutually exclusive. Lamartine writes, "He works and does not return." To work and not return is to be attached to nothing. In Lamartine's verse, as in certain worldview, today to be a worker is to be uprooted, wandering, consuming without building, and we at the UDG reject this wandering. Our march must have a direction, a meaning, a goal. It must be grounded, constructive, forward-looking, and faithful to our values. We march not to flee, but to open the way, not to imitate, but to invent, and to understand is also to recognize that in every period of transition a nation needs a point of balance, and reassuring presents an experience that provides guidance, a firm hand that preserves unity, and when the world's wind rise, our countries need continuity as much as renewal, solid benchmarks so that transformations never become fractures. It stands out as a given, and it was he who knew how to hold the helms when the seas were rout. It was he who embodied stability, constancy, loyalty to the state. Yes, it is you, Mr. President. We can debate, propose other pace, Recognizing this not mean abandoning our ideal. On the contrary, it means giving it meaning. Djibouti needs you. Djibouti needs forces that complement each other, stability and renewable wisdom and youth, experience and vision. And it is this pride that we say the time for unity is not one of divisions, it is one of responsibility, discernment, and loyalty to the nation. May this Congress be one of renewable faithful to our principle of our unity in diversity and of hope transformed into action. On this anniversary, let us remember our roots, honors our elders, and look to the futures with clarity. Let us remain aligned with the choice that guarantee stability, continuity, and the visions of sustainable development for our countries, for history is not written without courage, and this courage, my dear comrade, is us.
Minister of Digital Economy and Innovation, Madam Mariam Hamadou Ali, led a high-level delegation to Hanoi, Vietnam to sign the United Nations Convention Against Cybercrime, representing the President of the Republic. The convention is the first global legal framework to strengthen international cooperation for preventing, detecting, and prosecuting offenses committed via information and communication technologies. It harmonizes cybercrime definitions and sets rules for cross-border collection of electronic evidence. Minister Mariam Hamadou said Djibouti is proud to sign and reaffirm the country's commitment to a safe, ethical digital environment that respects fundamental rights. She noted the signature reaffirms Djibouti's pioneering role in Africa on digital sovereignty and cybersecurity. The move aligns with the newly elected digital code whose book effort addresses cybercrime, and with the national cybersecurity strategy adopted in November 2024, the signature opens the way to national ratification and interministerial action plan to implement the convention and build national capacities to combat cybercrime. "25 years ago, Djibouti dared to offer peace to Somalia. Back in the year 2000, under President Ismail Omar Guelleh, Arta became the diplomatic heart where warring parties negotiated, clans exchanged words, and reconciliation was born. As Djibouti prepares to integrate the Arta Peace Memorial, Radio Television of Djibouti presents a series revisiting the diplomatic achievement. The first episode returns to the origin story, Arta 2000, when Djibouti offered peace to Somalia. Tune in daily on national channels up to the memory integration, and let's now watch the first episode.
Arta 2000, when Djibouti offered peace to Somalia in 1991, Somalia collapsed. President Siad Barre's regime fell, leaving behind a stateless country. What was supposed to be a transition became a tragedy. In the power vacuum, clans tore each other apart. Cities went up in flames, institutions crumbled, civil war took hold, relentless and endless. Hundreds of thousands of refugees fled to the borders, to Ethiopia, Kenya, and to Djibouti. That small sister country watched, worried as a beloved neighbor disintegrated for nearly a decade. The world was helpless. The state faded, a famine spread, and weapons replaced the world. Somalia became a cry without an echo. In 1999, in Djibouti, a new impetus is blowing through the republic. Ismail Omar Guelleh, elected president, inherited a fractured regional environment, but he chose not to look the other way. Where others have tried unsuccessfully to impose peace by force, he decided to rely on words, proximity, and trust. He makes the Somali issues the priority of his young presidency. His convictions, it is not by excluding that we rebuild a country, but reconciling. In the year 2000, in the peaceful height of Arta, Djibouti opens its door to hope for the first time in the 10 years. More than 2,000 Somali delegates, clans leaders, former ministers, religious leaders, intellectuals, members of the diaspora, and those courageous women who refused to be relegated to silence, gather on the same soil, around the same table, all hailing from the four corners of a torn Somalia. Some don't know each other. Others have never met, and yet here in Arta, they will combine the same grammar of forgiveness, align themselves with the same ideal of peace, rediscover in the languages of the heart what war had shattered, the ability to speak to one another, listen to another, the ability to speak to one another, to listen to one another, to understand one another. That day in Arta, peace will take human form. Arta became the beating heart of African reconciliation. In Djiboutian school and homes, bread, words, and memories are shared. The debate are harshest emotions run high, but peace find common languages where several other initiatives had failed to bear the expected fruits. Djibouti succeeds in uniting people.
Fardousa Moussa, Vice President of the Djiboutian National Olympic Committee and President of the Djibouti Taekwondo Federation, has been elected Vice President of the World Taekwondo Federation. Already Vice President of ACNOA, her long record of service has now earned global recognition. The Secretary for Sports, Mr. Hassan Mohamed Kamil, congratulated her on social media, praising her competence and determination, and saying the appointment honors Djiboutian sport on the world stage. This appointment marks a significant gain for African representation in international sports institutions. On 22nd of October 2025, Colonel Ibrahim Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Director General of International Relations, visited Galilei in the Ali Sibih region to oversee the formal opening of an advanced military post. The mission followed directives from the Chief of General Staff and aimed to strengthen surveillance and rapid reaction capabilities at the border. Colonel Ibrahim was received by Commander Usman, head of the Ali Sibih Inter-Arms Battalion, and local authorities. After honors and addresses recognizing troops' discipline and professionalism, the post was integrated as a strategic assist for regional security.
tahay awoodii lagu aarsanayay ma og tahay askariyo ina tahay awoodii lagu aarsanayay ma og tahay.
Following the opening ceremony, Colonel Ibrahim inaugurated the mosque built within the post, enjoyed local faithful for a moment of prayer and fraternity. The visit ended with a working session involving military and civil leaders on interagency coordination, logistics, and security priorities. The battalion commander relayed the Chief of General Staff's greetings, praised the troops, and emphasized the importance of the new installation for regional stability.
askariyo ina tahay taliki gobanimada ugu biyo calankiyo arladu kiyirkanayeen ina tahay awoodii lagu aarsanayay ma og tahay askariyo ina tahay awoodii lagu aarsanayay ma og tahay askariyo.
And the regional patronage alias hosted young author Muhammad Ali Shihim, whose autobiographical recounts an early childhood filled with reading, sport and theater, and a later life struck by a serious illness that confined him to a wheelchair. The meeting with reading club students featured poems inspired by the book, a lively question and answers, and a book signing enabled to use a keyboard because of his disability. Shihim reportedly composed his manuscript letter by letter on a smartphone using his remaining right thumb. In a message typed on his phone, he thanked the authorities, teachers, and LES and urged students to keep pursuing their dreams. You are the future of our country, he said. The prefect and the president of the regional council praised Alias Sherif and welcomed the young author, applauding students' engagement and creativity. They highlighted the importance of cultural and educational programs in nurturing youth and encouraged continued support for local reading clubs. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, Palestinian faction assigned Gaza administration to a Tuareg community calls to revive the PLO in Cairo. Palestinian faction agreed to entrust Gaza's administration to a temporary committee of independent technocrats drawn from the territory and urged steps to reactivate the Palestinian Liberation Organization as the sole legitimate representatives of the Palestinian people. UN Security General Antonio Guterres said Friday that the Security Council needs deep and immediate reform. In a video address during a session titled The United Nations, A Vision for the Future, marking the UN's 80th anniversary, Guterres warned that the Council's legitimacy is fragile despite its vital role. He criticized certain members for acting contrary to the UN Charter, eroding trust in the organization, and called for corrective measures, including expanded membership. Well, by this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us. And make sure to tune in later for more as usual. Have a wonderful evening and take care. Thank you.